Welcome everyone to Luke Live Online. I'm Father James DeLucio with the Paulist Fathers. This is session number 13, and you find me in the work sacristy of our parish church, St. Paul the Apostle Parish in New York City. As you can see, it's a rather rudimentary work sacristy. It has just the bare bones of everything we need, from chalices to ciborium and patens and all that we need to celebrate the sacraments, especially, of course, our daily Mass and Eucharists. This is my part-time job now that I'm not able to do missionary work because travel is very limited, and large gatherings of people is not really accessible for a parish mission. So, as I may have noted before, I'm part-time sacristan and also on call at the hospital, and therefore, I'm offering these little bits of Luke Live Online and my Young at Heart series on now Friday nights. So, here we are. I gave you a little assignment. If you tuned in to Facebook earlier, you'd see that I asked you to make a list of all the reasons that you need a Savior, what you need to be saved from. And then I would add to that, what blessings you need, what do you need, the positive things you need in order to be saved from the things. And this is very important because last time we looked at John the Baptist as the forerunner of Jesus, and the importance there of recognizing forgiveness is the common denominator. It's the great leveler of all humanity. Everyone's in need of it, which brings the exact kind of humility that we need to have a relationship with God and a healthy, positive relationship with one another. I'll repeat that. It's very important. Humility, the need to come down to earth, just as Jesus, as God, comes down to earth to be one with us. That's where we find God. That's where we find Jesus. That's where we find one another. Always focusing on our common humanity, starting with everyone needs forgiveness. So when we have with that as our really foundation, then we look at what are our needs from a Savior. So I've made up a little list here because it will help us get the most out of the gospel. Also, to keep ever mindful on a daily basis, Jesus, I need you. I need you for such things, to free me from fear, to free me and the world from evil, from sickness, from prejudice, from selfishness, from discrimination, from greed. Free this world from intimidation and cruelty, from lies, from violence, from hatred, envy, which is such a central source of evil, envy in this world, poverty, hunger. Free us from all these things. Free us from hell, not only in the future, but from experiences of hell right here. Free us from death that is finite, rather than death as a way into a new birth. So free us from that fear of death. Free us from our enemies. Free us from poverty, from hunger. I may have mentioned that already, but those are good ones to keep in mind. Save us from bad thoughts. Save me from myself. Save us from danger. Keep the world a safe place. Help people in power to make decisions, and even inventors to create things that are useful but also keep us safe. You might know that every month the popes have, in this case Pope Francis, of course, gives a special intention for the world. He invites us to pray on this. I really only became aware of it more recently, but this goes back for many, many generations of popes with a monthly prayer. Did you know that? This month, Pope Francis is inviting us to pray for the inventors and for all those, particularly in the computer and artificial intelligence community, that they will always be conscious that their inventions are meant to serve humanity and not to manipulate humanity, not to make humanity serve the entity, but that the entity serves us for a common good. So that's the November invitation from Pope Francis for prayer. Again, it relates to why we need a Savior, because we can tend to get very self-centered or make progress God, in opposed to allow God to be God, and our willfulness or our creativity to be in competition with God, which is never a good thing. Going back to the story of our original parents, Adam and Eve, that story makes it clear that they did feel envy. They did feel competition with God. Why else would you want to have knowledge of everything, perfect knowledge? So, they wanted to be the center of the universe. Obviously, another dynamic of envy and the source of a lot of the evil in the world. So, again, we do need a Savior. And we have the words of the Baptist, that one greater than he is coming. If you had a chance, you could listen to my rendition of Comfort Ye from Handel's Messiah, which I put in the previous Facebook listing. And if you want someone with more classically trained voice, go to YouTube and look up Handel's Messiah, Comfort Ye and Every Valley, which follows it, which I did not record yet for you. Get into that spirit. It's a little bit of Advent in November, but we always have to have that Advent, that attentive, active waiting. And it's only active if we're really conscious of what are we waiting for? What are we working towards? What are we preparing for? We want a world free from fear, evil, sickness, poverty, hunger, and so many things. That is possible if people really collaborate and take into account the needs of all peoples, all sides of a situation. I was really impressed during the Democratic primaries when Elizabeth Warren, the senator from Massachusetts, was offering what she would do as president. And she said that every time a bill that affects the people, and we would say the people of God, would come forward, she would want it to be discussed with people from all sectors of society. So if it regarded industry, obviously the industry professionals, but also the peoples of the towns where these industries would occur, and environmentalists, and education, to see how this impacts education, and because that's really the right way. That's the right way that we wish all governments would. And I do hope, now that we have our president-elect, Joseph Biden, that he will heed that and make more efforts, and that Congress, because they're such a big and powerful organization that have been so ineffectual for decades, that they'll start doing this, doing the hard work that our taxes are paying them for, that they said they wanted to serve. Meanwhile, of course, they're not Messiah. But if we're in tune with these particular needs, as we've mentioned them, for Messiah, we also are in tune and attentive to how humans are cultivating those needs. How are they cultivating responses to those needs as instruments of Messiah, instruments of grace, instruments of truth, of love, of faith, and hope. So I thought I didn't want to actually get into Jesus's adult ministry without really giving us this background, this foundation. So I hope that you made your lists, as I've made mine. Again, on save us, Savior of the world from, and then Savior, save us and bring us things such as, here's my list again, truth, honesty, wisdom, humility, positive thinking, trust, prayerfulness, faith, hope, love, concentration, being able to concentrate fully at the tasks at hand, open our minds up to your will, not our will, be done. So that's our session for today. Giving you a little more meditation before we move on to more of Luke's Gospel. Next week, we enter Jesus' baptism. We'll explore again why he chose to enter into baptism. He certainly didn't need it, but like he does everything in his life, he does it for us, as an invitation to us. And then, of course, the great genealogy, which I haven't sung for you in a long time live, and I'm going to do my chant of all the ancestors of Jesus, the genealogy, and to invite us too, as we prepare for next week, thinking of all the people in your life, ancestors, elders, teachers, who've given you the gift of faith, and if not specifically of faith, but of truth and of values. What have we inherited? What are we going to build on? Just as Jesus built on all the prophets before him. Very important. So thanks so much for joining me. I was glad to share my workspace a little bit with you. There's a little more if you want to see. I didn't get to add my conclusion because as I moved my computer, it turned off. So I just would like to close. I won't show you more. I don't want to risk leaving you midstream, mid-sentence. So meanwhile, wear your masks, please, when you go out, and stay safe, stay healthy, and God bless. Bye, everyone. Hope someday we can actually get together. Bye.